Welcome back, everybody, to another episode here on the Playbook with the Boise Beat. Today, we're going to be going over Super Bowl weekend, baby. Let's go. As always, I got my co-host here, my pops, Alan Sr. And today as well, we also have a special guest, Chris Webb, a good friend of mine, a.k.a. Buttergoon.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
How's it going, brother?
Not too shabby. Hey, excited, baby. I'm excited.
Heck yeah. Let's just jump right into it, baby. Let's address the elephant in the room that everyone's been talking about, Pat Mahomes and another Super Bowl. Breaking more records. Everybody already trying to put him in the GOAT conversation. Let's start with you, Chris. What do you think about this whole GOAT conversation with Pat Mahomes already entering it?
I mean, he kind of gives off the same feel as Brady, where you see him in the playoffs, it's almost stupid to bet against him kind of thing, right? But it's still hard to go against 7, man. You can't do it. Won't do it.
Too soon.
It's too soon.
The guy just retired.
Yeah, I know. As I say, it's like 2 years ago. 2 years ago, man. Come on. A couple years ago. Who cares? I mean, can't just throw him aside like he's nothing.
Exactly.
And built the
After
legacy,
all those years.
So.
Yep.
I just can't do it. I think he's there, though. He's getting there, but not yet.
Yeah, it's going to take some time. And Pops, I was going to go to you because we talked earlier about Pat Mahomes already being third, I believe it was, all-time in playoff wins with 14. I think second was Montana with 16, or maybe he has 12 and Montana has 14. He's 2 behind second place. And Brady, of course, number 1 with 35, which obviously shows the huge difference there and the years of success. So what do you got to say about that, Pops?
Yeah, Mahomes hasn't been around near as long as Brady was. So, give him time. I think he'll catch him, especially if Andy Reid stays as coach. And I see another win this Super Bowl. I mean, everybody's picking the Niners because their defense, but look at the defense of Baltimore, number 1. And look what they did to them. It wasn't so much defensively that they did. It was or offensively they did. It was that they shut down their offense, the Ravens offense. If they can even come close to that against Purdy, I give him a good chance.
Yeah, and I believe it was the Chiefs all year. I mean, all the years past, we've talked about their offense and how good they are. Pat Mahomes leading the way, but I mean, their defense has really made a name for themselves this playoff run, really. I mean, they're finally getting respect, but all year, I believe they were second in points per game allowed for the season. So they've been balling out, and it's really just been taken to a whole nother level. They're in the top 5 all time for points per game allowed in a playoff run, which the Ravens from the 2002 season, around their early 2000 season, where they won the Super Bowl, they gave up 6 points per game. That's the record. That's insane.
Wow.
No, 5.7. I think.
5.8, I think. Yeah,
5.8.
Nuts.
Not even 2 field goals. Can you believe that?
Dude.
Wow.
That's how you take Trent Dilfer to it, dude. That's how you take Trent Dilfer to it.
That's how Trent Dilfer got a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I mean, that just shows how good their defense is. I mean, Pat Mahomes, as great as he is, doesn't need to do too much. He just needs to keep them in the ball game and let their defense get going. And I mean, it's hard to bet against them. But I mean, this Niners team, I mean, they've got a lot of weapons on offense, and they got the best running back in the league, Christian McCaffrey. I mean, that's got to be some kind of equalizer, right? Let's start with you, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of taking a peek at some of the box scores of the playoff games that both teams, faced this run. And honestly, man, the thing that I noticed the most was like the Niners are straight like a one-half team for the most part. Like, and they're just playing in that second half. And I'm like, if they have another slow start like they have in the past couple games, this might be the defense that keeps them like to where they're at. Like it doesn't bend, doesn't break, you know, like, and that's what it's tough. I just don't see. I mean, I definitely believe in CMC, Debo, Kittle. I mean, Ayuk. I mean, like they got dogs there, but I
Absolutely.
mean, it's like that old adage, bro. Defense wins championships, and when you got one of the best in the game on the other side of that defense, it's a good
Yeah.
equalizer. I just don't know if it's enough of an equalizer.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say before going to you, Pops, the Chiefs, man, they're really running the football with Isaiah Pacheco, who they say he runs like he bites people. You know,
Yeah. Like he's
they have
biting
all
the
kinds of things.
ground.
Yeah,
That's what
like
they
he's
say.
angry at
Yeah.
the ground. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's right.
but the 49ers, I mean, going into that game against, I believe it was the Packers had the most rushing yards that the Niners have given up the last few years. And then all of a sudden they play the Lions, and it's the same story. I think they broke that record
Yeah.
for how much rushing yards they've given up. So very uncharacteristic the last few games of this Niners defense to be giving up rushing yards like that. As usual, they're the team to run the ball and control the clock and make you play from behind and throw the ball. So very new for them to come from behind and have to play and win. And not very much to their style, but they've been doing it. I mean, I think that speaks to a lot of their talent on their team. But what do you think about Isaiah Pacheco, Pops, going into this game?
I like his chances. I mean, if they can run the ball, they've got a really good chance. And then the 49ers so far in the playoffs look at Laporta. He had 9 catches, 98 yards. I mean, you give Kelsey any kind of opportunity like that. Last game, he was like 11 for 11
Yeah.
last time I looked. And so I think the key really is for the 49ers, if they can shut down Kelsey. That's the main guy that Mahomes just leans on. Nobody's been able to do it this year, really. But when they have, few teams that have, they've won that game. So, and the 49ers got a great front seven. So I think that's going to be the battle. It's going to decide that game as far as Kansas City scoring. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Travis Kelce hasn't had one of the years that he's had in years past. Obviously, he's had injuries early in the year, and Kittle's had quite the year. I mean, Brock Purdy's been relying on him a lot because Debo's been in and out of the lineup with various injuries, and Ayuk's been out there. Has been a guy that stepped up big time. But I don't know. I just got a feeling that this Niners defense is going to step it up when they need it, and I know that's been rough the last few weeks, but I expect them to really hammer that down and get that run defense going this week. They know how important it is.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing is I think if they could start fast, they'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes, absolutely.
I fear if they get off to another slow start like they have pretty much all, these two past games that they played. Yeah, it's rough, man. Like, I don't know. That's my only fear for them.
Yeah, this Kansas City team this year, when they get a lead, they are so tough because they just chew up the clock. Pacheco and short passes to Kelsey, and a few more short passes, and all of a sudden they hit you with the big one with Rice. And I think the big thing is for Kansas City, they have to pressure Purdy. I mean, they sacked Lamar Jackson 4 times. That's pretty good for a guy that runs like him. And Purdy ran pretty good against the Lions, but he's mostly a pocket passer. So if they can put pressure on Purdy, get him to turn the ball over, that's the key to the Chiefs winning this game, really.
Yeah, and I mean, the Lions let Brock Purdy look a little bit like Lamar Jackson at the end of that game, the way he was breaking out and running free. And Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, actually mentioned that in his press conference about containing Purdy and how important that is. Obviously, nothing gets by that guy when he's watching film. Obviously, one of the legendary D coordinators, beat Tom Brady twice in the Super Bowl, leading the Giants there.
Yeah.
And then got a few Super Bowls here with Kansas City. I mean, that guy's got to get his flowers. Obviously he coached with St. Louis Rams back in the day. Didn't go well. Obviously, a lot of coaches back then, it didn't go well for them in St. Louis.
Yeah, he was a head coach.
But Spags has really made a name for himself as a legendary D coordinator these last few years. And he's got this Chiefs defense rolling.
Yeah. He's won 4 Super Bowls as a D coordinator, so there's got to be something to it.
And if
he's 1 for 5 now.
If the Chiefs can do anything more remotely close to what they did, where they took the best rushing offense and just made them run the ball 6 times. If they could do anything of that sort
Yeah,
to
exactly.
the Niners and they take out that CMC attack, like, yeah, it's all on Brock Purdy. And then that's where the conversation is. He a guy or is he a game manager? And that it'll show it.
Exactly. Make him one-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to see what Purdy's made of. I mean, this is his defining Super Bowl. This game is a big game for him to show what he's really got. And I think it's going to be a really good game. I mean, it's only 1.5 points spread. So everybody expects a really close game. I think it'll come down to field goal, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very close game.
It'll come down to who turns the ball over the most. That's what it always comes down to in big games like this. Turnovers.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you saying
Baltimore
that
had 3 of them.
Yeah, and you saying that Purdy has the most to prove. I want to take it a step further and say that Shanahan has the most to prove. After how great of a coach he's been, all the success, has not got a Super Bowl yet. They've been very close. He's been in the Super Bowl once before where he lost to the Chiefs.
He's blundered it in the Super Bowl too, man. He's had it, and it's just slipped.
Yep.
In both
that's what
games,
I want to talk
he got
about.
really conservative at the end.
Yeah, it cost him.
He's had big leads. I mean, the Falcons, obviously, the 28-3. He was offensive coordinator for that team.
I mean, I love that.
Yeah. That was an amazing Super Bowl. That was my favorite Super Bowl ever. But besides the Rams winning one, but I mean, the 28-3 lead. He mismanaged that lead there, and so you go to a year later when he's coaching the Niners, or 2 years later, 2 or 3, where all of a sudden he builds his team. They get to the Super Bowl against Kansas City. They're up 10 in the fourth quarter. Mahomes ends up coming back in that quarter and wins it for his first Super Bowl. And then just 2 years ago against the Rams in the conference championship game, he has a 10-point lead as well in the fourth quarter and blows it. And so I think he's got a lot to prove this year. And it's going to be interesting to see if he can get over the hump and really cement himself as one of the very, very best coaches in the NFL. I mean, the guy's phenomenal. What an offensive mind he is and what he's done for this team in a short amount of time. But I think it's going to say a lot about his legacy here in this game this weekend. And I just have a feeling he's going to get that monkey off his back as Steve Young did when he won that first Super Bowl.
I'll tell you what, they came back from 17 down, both their wins. I mean, or from 10, 10 on the Packers or 17? But it was the first time they've ever came back. Any one of his teams ever came back for that many points down. And he came back and won them. So maybe this is a new Shanahan.
Yeah. And Chris, who do you think's got the most to prove this game?
I mean, like the public will say Brock, but I'll take your take with the Kyle thing. That's what me and like a couple of my other boys talk about, is like how no one doubts his offensive mind, but his like big game situational awareness is so bad from what we've seen. It's so bad. It was like that. I can't remember exactly, but it's like a critical third down in the Super Bowl with the Falcons, and Matt Ryan takes a sack. It's like, I get it. That's maybe not all on him, but it's like you made that play call. You know what I mean? So it's just, I definitely think this will help Shanahan out a lot if he can get this Super Bowl. It just, like you said, it cements that legacy of him being a great head coach and not just a good offensive mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. Yeah.
And let's just jump into it. I mean, we'll start with you, Pops. Who do you got winning this? What's the score, and who do you got as MVP?
I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, fairly. I mean, I think it's going to be like 24-21, something
That's
like
exactly
that.
What I was going to say.
24-23. I think Kansas City will pull it out. I do, because their quarterback, Mahomes, he's proved in close games. He's one of the toughest quarterbacks in close games. And you give him a chance to get the ball last, he'll win it for him. And Purdy, he brought him back twice in the playoffs here. So let's see if he's got one more if they get behind. But I think it's going to be a really close game. But I think it comes down to quarterbacks, really. I'd take Mahomes over Purdy.
That's kind of where I'm at. It's low score, 2017. I just, like I said in the beginning, man, it's so hard to bet against Pat Mahomes. He's really giving you that like kind of Brady feel where I bet against him against the Bills. and the Ravens.
Yeah,
I said,
me
it's
too.
Josh Allen's time. It's Lamar's time.
Yeah,
Nope,
everybody
it's
thought that.
Pat's time. It's Pat's time. It's
Yeah.
going to
He's
be
only
for a
lost.
little bit.
Yep, he's only lost one Super Bowl, and that's when he couldn't even walk hardly. Man, he had no business playing that game.
They didn't have a line.
No.
He didn't
But
have a line that year.
yeah, everybody was hurt. But I want to say you're saying it's Pat Mahomes' time. I think it's my time to get a bet right this playoffs. All right, you know what I'm saying? I think I'm due for one. You know, I've been missing a lot this playoffs. I think I'm due for one. I'm going to go against you guys here, and I'm going to take the Niners 24-21. I think it's going to be a very close one. Obviously, I think there's going to be spurts of offense, but a lot of defense this game. And I think McCaffrey is going to be MVP. I think they've been riding his coattails all year, and he won me a fantasy championship. So, and usually, you know, I told a friend of ours, Patrick, I was telling him that once the fantasy football season ends, that's where I draw the line. I stop rooting for those guys, especially divisional guys. But, you know, I got McCaffrey walking out of this one with MVP. I don't think you get a car anymore for MVP, but I got him walking home with that trophy.
Probably a pickup now.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Probably. But speaking of awards, go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was just saying one last thing. I think the team who will win it will do something gutsy, like go for it on like a fourth down with a fake punt, possibly even bring back that Sean Payton onside, dude. Something crazy is going to happen for that team that wins it. It's going to be that game-changing moment.
Yeah. I just don't think it's Shanahan that's going to do that, though.
That's kind of
Randy Reed.
That's what we'll see. I could see
him catch you off guard.
Yeah, I think for Shanahan to win the Super Bowl, he has to do something different. You know, don't all cater to the wind. You know, going for it on fourth down, he doesn't do that a lot.
Very conservative.
And Andy Reid, that's his style, man.
Big balls.
Yep. Fourth down. Yep.
Yeah.
And so
that's
I
definitely
think
Andy Reid.
in order for Shanahan to win it, I think he has to pull something like that out. A big fourth down play or something like that.
I don't know how Andy Reid really walks around on the sideline with those things dragging, but
wheelbarrow, dude.
Yeah,
wheelbarrow.
Yeah, but
that's why he's got that sideline guy behind
him
around, dude.
Yeah. But you know, while we were talking about awards and you know what winning MVP, let's just jump into that. And who do you guys got for ending the season with the biggest award? Let's start with that one, MVP, and then we'll drop into Offensive Player of the Year. We'll start with you, Pops.
Oh, it's got to be Lamar Jackson. I mean, he had a heck of a year. He just can't do it in the playoffs yet. And until he does, he won't be a real MVP. But I think he's going to get a second one. I really do. He's been the favorite all year, and it's got to be him. I don't see anybody else.
Yeah, I think by midseason he pulled away with that one, and everybody's talking about it. Once they beat the Niners, I think he really solidified that because they were talking Purdy and Prescott, and they had a few bad games, and so Lamar just kind of ran away with that. Chris, do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, as much as you know, I'd love to see like CMC get that thing because truly, by definition, he is the most valuable player to that team.
Yeah.
But it's always going to be a quarterback.
It's always
and Lamar's earned it again this year, so can't complain.
And I mean, it's tough because you've seen the last few years. There's been some guys that are deserving of MVP. I mean, we saw
Cooper Kupp
a few years ago, and then especially a year like this where no quarterback really stood out. I mean, Lamar did, but I mean, it wasn't like a phenomenal season by any means because the leading passer this year, I think, was Dak Prescott with 36 passing touchdowns, which is kind of low for like a passing touchdown leader. And I mean, nobody got 5,000 yards this year, relatively close, which usually there's at least one or two, you know, guys getting at least close to that. And so it is a little bit of an odd year. You would think this would be the year to give it to someone other than a quarterback, but I doubt that'll change.
Yeah. I mean, dark horse CMC, but safe bet. And I'm a betting guy. So
then let's jump into that, Chris. You think you got CMC for Offensive Player of the Year?
Oh, yeah. I don't see like, I get it. Like Tyreek had his year and he was balling, and you know, I mean, you could even say CD towards the end, AJ Brown, they had a bunch of big, you know, stretches of games, but I mean, CMC is that whole Niners team, and he is so good, dude. He's so good.
Yeah,
I just don't see how you can.
the year.
And not to mention, he does it both. He does running, catching. I mean, he even gets down and dirty in between the tackles. Like he's
Yeah,
doing it all, man. So
he's phenomenal.
I think he definitely deserves it.
Yeah, and even Tyreek put up quite the stat line this year. I mean, with all the stats he got married once, had a few kids, which the math
All
ain't
this
mathing
year?
there. But
Math ain't
yeah, we
mathing,
won't.
dude.
Yeah, it's not mathing, but we won't go there. But you, Pops, you think McCaffrey got Offensive Player of the Year?
Yeah, I do. I think if Tyreek Hill hadn't got injured those few games where he broke all the records, receiving records, and he was on pace for 2,000 yards. So nobody's ever done that. So, yeah, it's got to be CMC. McCaffrey's got to win it. I mean, if they give it MVP to running backs, he would win that, but they don't. So
Yeah,
that's his flowers. He gets his flowers right there.
yeah, and I mean, Defensive Player of the Year. This one is a little bit. You can make an argument. I feel like there's a few guys this year that really put up some numbers. You got T.J. Watt, you got Myles Garrett. Just a few that come to mind. But there's a few guys that were putting some numbers up this year. I mean, we'll start with you, Chris. You got who you think's winning it?
I mean, I would go for TJ. I think he just does so much for that team. And like if you look at their stats when he's on the field versus when he's off, like he is almost like a sole contributor to them winning games. But like I don't know if the NFL might get a little cheesy and just give it to Deion Branch because he broke the NFL record of most pick sixes. I could see it, man. I could see it just because that's something that that's a crazy thing. So maybe, but I think I'll go TJ.
Yeah. What about you, Pops? Who you got there?
Oh, Myles Garrett, definitely. He's just was crazy this year, man. And it's time to get somebody new in there. I mean, TJ Watt had his time. And he had a lot of sacks. I think he had 19. Garrett had like 17 or 18, 17 and a half, 18. But just Myles Garrett was just so dominant for the Browns. I mean, their defense was top 1 or 2 most of the year at different times. So, yeah, I'd give it to Myles Garrett. He definitely deserves it. Man, that guy, he's a beast. So is TJ Watt. He is too.
And Myles Garrett not hitting anybody in the head with the helmet this year, staying very poised. No. He's playing great football. And another thing too to mention, because I agree that it should go to Myles Garrett this year, but TJ Watt, I mean, wow, I saw the stat this year on what their record is without him. And that is just insane. Like, I think they were like 0-10, something like that, maybe even more, but they do not win ball games without him when he's not healthy. And, he makes a huge difference for that team. And I'm sure if he don't win it, we'll see JJ Watt complaining about it on Twitter for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Once again, as he does
every
year that Aaron Donald won it, he's always has something to say.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Speaking of Aaron Donald, the Rams player, we have 3 Rams up for the last remaining rewards that we're going to go over: Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, and Comeback Player of the Year. I mean, we'll start with Offensive Rookie of the Year because obviously a lot of people are bringing up the same debate of whether it should go to a quarterback, which I do believe it should. CJ Stroud with a phenomenal year, and then also Puka Nacua, who had an insane year as well. And Chris, we'll start with you there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. I think it's such a quarterback friendly league where it's always going to go to them. But I mean, Puka, I think, is the rightful owner of that award, just because, I mean, there's questions. What are the Rams going to do without Cooper Kupp? They didn't miss a beat, really. Like, I know you don't want to compare those two, but having those two on the field with the stats they were putting up this year, like, that's just crazy, man. So I'm a big Puka guy. I think he deserves it the most, but I truly would not be surprised if CJ won that thing.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Pops.
Yeah, CJ's going to win it, unfortunately. I mean, Puka had a heck of a season, man, but they're going to give it to the quarterback every time.
Always.
It.
Yeah.
And he had a heck of a year. CJ Stroud, boy, he's one of the few guys that went over 4,000 yards, and he didn't even He missed what, 2 games? 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
And just think what he'd have with those. I mean, low,
Yeah.
something like 26 touchdowns, 4 or 5 interceptions. Yeah, that's crazy for a rookie. He'll get
Yeah,
it.
he did not look like a rookie this year, and he lost a few of his
No.
receivers late in the year too. As we went on, he lost Tank Dell. I think Nico Brown went down late in the season. So, obviously he put up big numbers, and he showed a lot from a rookie quarterback. He did not look like a rookie. His leadership carried them to a first round win. He just looked like a vet out there, and so it's hard to argue that one.
Well, I
And
think
Pops,
real quick, I'm so sorry.
no, you're
But
good.
I mean,
Go ahead.
I don't think he threw a pick for the first like 4 games he was there. Like,
Maybe
Mhm.
I
more.
mean, dude is a dog. Like, he is
Yeah,
an absolute dog. But
he is. Bright future for him. And
Oh, yeah.
possible, we'll go to you for the defensive rookie of the year, because this one you can make an argument for a Rams player coming home with it. Kobe
Yeah.
Turner, obviously breaking Donald's rookie record for a D lineman for sacks. What do you think about him?
I think it should be Kobe Turner, but I have a bad feeling they're not gonna give it to him. I mean, he was a 3rd-round pick. They're looking at these 1st-round picks, Anderson and who's
Will
the
Anderson.
2? And who's the other one?
This I'm not exactly sure of, because I just know that the two favorites really are Turner and Will Anderson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he'll probably get it. He was Javon Carter was the other one.
Oh, yeah, from
He started
Georgia
off
for
really
Philadelphia.
good too, but 9 sacks. He had more sacks than all of them. I think Anderson had 7, Carter had like 6 or so. I mean, it's a sack league, and he played really good against the run. He should get
Yeah.
it, but I got a feeling they're going to give it to one of the number 1 picks.
Will Anderson. Can't argue that one, Chris.
Probably Will Anderson.
yeah, I mean, I think it should go to the fella on the Rams, just because, I mean, like you guys said, it's a sack league, but also, like, I think it shows a little bit more too. Like, when you're a 1st-round pick, like, everybody's eyes are on you. No one's on you for the 3rd round, so it's like that's showing the grit, the want, truly the best to,
Absolutely.
but kind of like you guys said earlier, it's probably going to go to a 1st-round guy.
And then he broke tied Donald's rookie record for sacks for the Rams. Set the Rams franchise record for rookies.
Mhm.
So, I mean, anytime you tie Donald for anything, you should be rewarded for it.
Great company.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And comeback player of the year.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, and he plays tackle too. I mean, 9 sacks as a defensive tackle. These other guys are ends, aren't they? Pretty sure they are. So
yeah. And you got a comeback player of the year, which has been a hot debate on the. I see you're smiling, Chris, because you know exactly where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I do.
But Damar Hamlin, obviously, everyone thinks the NFL is just going to give it to him because, obviously, all right. Let me preface this with he took a hard hit last year in the playoffs, and his heart stopped.
That's pretty hard.
A really hard hit.
Yeah. All right.
Take him off in an ambulance. I think that says it all right there.
I mentioned his heart stopped. All right. Came back to life, obviously, back this year. So
you can't do better than that. Come back from to life.
I was gonna say, man, that's tough, dude.
That's tough.
It's tough to compete with that. I mean, that's about the only stat line you had this year besides a failed 4th down for the Bills. But I mean, all credit to him. Before we go into it, obviously, all jokes aside now, but Damar Hamlin, how creative a story that is to play through that and even make a return or even get the right mindset to come back in an NFL game like that. And
get in shape like that.
Yeah, and that's insane right there. Obviously, this year is a great year for comeback players of the year. There's a lot of good candidates. You got Baker Mayfield, who it's a little bit of argument against him is that last year he obviously came in and had a great second half of the year, revitalized his career with the Rams, had that legendary game against the Raiders where had 2 days to prepare for the game, learn the offense, and led a comeback few drives to score and win against the Raiders with I think less than a minute left, which is unbelievable what he did there.
Yeah,
but
I think in the last seconds that touchdown was to win it.
Yep. And Matthew Stafford, another candidate who last year got knocked out midway through the season, was having a terrible year. Everybody was saying he should retire. Had a back injury, already playing on an arm injury. And then when he hurt his back, he was saying that he couldn't feel his legs
He had a spinal
until they had helped him.
contusion.
Yep. Big time spinal
That's
injury,
big
which he's
time,
played
man.
through. He's played through broken bones in his back before. The guy's just a dog. But, he couldn't feel his legs. A lot of people aren't talking about that, the severity of that injury. And people were saying he should retire. And then he comes back this year, and all of a sudden it's back in the conversation, getting respect back on his name, as if he didn't just win a Super Bowl 2 years ago. But
Yeah, Pro Bowl this year.
Well, and it should be said that the 3 receivers with the best single seasons of all time, who's their quarterback? Matt Stafford, bro. I mean,
exactly.
And
then another favorite for this award, though, is good old Joe Flacco coming back and out of nowhere and leading this Browns team to playoffs. Had a few great games.
Falling asleep on the bench, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, he fell asleep, bro.
They had to wheel him in just from the old folks' home just to get him. Had to kickstart his heart before the game.
Yep.
Get him out there.
Yep. Man, but that arm, man, he still throws one of the prettiest spirals you ever see. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, I mean, that's a tough. We'll start. Chris, who do you got for this award? Close one.
I mean, it's got to be DeMar, dude. I mean, he quite literally came back to life. Died on a football field, came back to life, and he was still able. Like, I get it. He's not like a, like perennial like Pro Bowl player that we all look at and expect him to do the craziest things, but I mean, that's in and of itself, just the act alone of being able to get back to an NFL team, do all the normal stuff that an NFL player does. Like that's crazy, bro. If DeMar's thing wasn't in the, if that didn't happen and it was just between those 3 guys, honestly, I'd probably give it to Baker, dude. Like I love what Joe Flacco did. I love what Matt Stafford was able to do, but I think Baker's had such like an unfair hand dealt to him in the league. He's, he got bounced after tearing his rotator cuff, and the OC of the Browns wants him to throw 60 times. I'm like, dude, come on. He's got a torn shoulder. Yeah. Then he goes to the Rams, revitalizes his career, but they have their quarterback, so they don't need him. So he's on his 3rd team in like 2 years, really, and he takes the Bucs to the playoffs. Like he, won that division. And I mean, I get it. The NFC South, believe me, I watched it. It's a shit show. I know. But out of all the quarterbacks, every time I watched those games against those rivals, dude, out of all the quarterbacks, I was like, I wish Baker was the one the Saints would have picked. Like Baker has that competitive drive. He does throw a really nice ball. And I don't know, man, anytime he's got to make a move to do something, like Baker typically comes through. So I would have thrown my hat in the ring for Baker if DeMar wasn't there, but DeMar deserves this.
Yeah.
Well, Baker did sign for like probably a base of 2 or 3 million, where everybody else is making 40, 45 million at the least, and with incentives, I think he made 6.1 million. So now all of a sudden they're worried about he's going to leave,
Yeah.
Bet on himself.
Like, oh shit, we better keep this guy,
Yeah.
We're afraid he's going to leave.
That's what I'm saying,
really,
man.
nobody wanted him last year. But and Stafford through his injuries, he had some major injuries last year. The Rams' whole team did. But it's got to go to DeMar Hamlin. I mean, what a story, man. I mean, comeback player, come back to life. I mean, it goes together.
It does. It really does.
Basically, it says the same thing. Come back.
I was going to say, dude.
Got the same word in it. How can you not give it to him? It's a great story.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I can't argue that with you guys, And I think it's pretty obvious that that's the direction the NFL is probably going to go in, is giving him that award, rightfully so. And so, I mean, we agree on most of these. Coach of the Year, that's also some great candidates in there. I think Dan Campbell is in it as well. But I want to talk about the 2 guys in the AFC South. D'Amico Ryans for the Texans, taking over that team that has not been very successful, especially since Deshaun Watson all that stuff going on with him and then trading him.
Yeah.
But, not much faith in them to do anything this year. And then he takes over that team and turns a rookie quarterback into one of the best in the league and
Into a
takes them to the
star, yeah.
playoffs second round. And then you got another guy in the AFC South, Shane Steichen, who had a high draft pick like D'Amico Ryans, but that guy got hurt, Anthony Richardson. And he takes the backup Gardner Minshew, and they barely missed the playoffs, dude, losing to the Texans. But, I mean, two unbelievable stories right there. And it's hard to argue. You go either way. You could say D'Amico earned it after he beat Shane Steichen, but, I mean, you can make a good case for either one. Pops, who you got?
I'll have to go D'Amico Ryans, man. They both teams were terrible. I mean, Panthers ended up with the number 1 pick, although they had to trade up for it. But, oh, man, such a good coach. Brought them back to, they're one of the best teams in the league, not just in the South. One of the best feel-good stories of the year. So, yeah, I'd have to go D'Amico Ryans. I mean, Steichen did a heck of a job, too. It's hard to go against either one, but I would give it D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to agree on that. I think. I guess I didn't catch as many Colts games this year as I did Texans games, but that Texans team, dude, it's night and day difference from this season compared to last season. Like they have the passion, they have the fire, they want to win, and you could see that like the culture from the coaches wearing off on the players.
Yeah,
and taking a rookie and that like shithole of an organization as far as they did, like that's incredible, dude. So yeah, I'd throw my hat for D'Amico as well.
And they had a great defense. I mean, they had a really good defense.
It was both sides of the ball, man. They were flying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with that being said, talking about all these awards, I want to talk about 2 last awards, and let's get into way too early predictions. Let's talk about, with the season coming to a close, NBA season approaching. Let's go into some way early predictions, and maybe if one of us can get one of these right, we can bring it back a year later and see. But you guys got any favorites for next year's Super Bowl? Who you think will be playing?
LA Rams. I just see it. I mean, they were expected to win 5 or 6 games this year. They won 10 and only lost to the Lions by 1, and they had one of the best rookie classes ever. They had like 4 starters. They got 4 nice starters out of this on this last draft, and another couple that are you're going to hear about them a lot. They can do anything like that with the first round pick this year. I look for the Rams to give everybody trouble next year. The 49ers are always going to be there.
Always.
But, yeah. And the Rams have been going to the Super Bowl since McVay took over every 3rd year. We're due.
Yeah. And I mean, they got a lot of salary, a lot of salary cap they're coming back with.
Yeah.
So they're going to have a lot of money to spend this offseason for an extra piece. It's a very interesting point. Very unbiased, I can tell.
No bias detected. I
don't
see
very unbiased. That's about as unbiased as I can be. Oh, don't look at that logo back there. That's trying to cover it up.
Yeah. Chris, who do you got? I know you're a Saints fan, but you don't got the Saints
dude.
going to Super Bowl next year.
Our good years are in the past. I'm wanting us to rebuild.
We know it's biased if you pick the Saints.
Oh yeah, dude. I'll be an actual realist here. There's no way the Saints. As much as I would be like, hell yeah, no, there's no way. They stink. Just so bad. Bunch of sellouts. DA sucks. DC, don't get me started. Realistically, man, this might be kind of a wild one, but I would love to actually see the Chargers do something. They truly have all the pieces. They got a good defense. They got good players on their defense where it's like they got a star pretty much at every level. Same with their offense. And really, it's always been their coach. Anthony Lynn always held back the Chargers. Brandon Staley held back the Chargers. Like, if Jim can come in there and instill a winning culture, I truly don't see how you could beat that team. Like, they have everything. It's just their situational awareness in games. it'd be 4th and 10 in their own, territory, 20 yards or less to their own end zone. And Staley, if the statistics told him to go for it, he'd do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, you got to play football, man. And Jim's a football guy. We saw his first stint with the Niners. So if he can get anywhere of that same kind of caliber, I think the Chargers will be a scary team next year.
And another team that's going to be scary for a while now is the ones that the Green Bay had the youngest team in the league this year, and the Rams had the second youngest. Man, that quarterback, that Love. Oh yeah, people are going to be hearing about him.
They got to investigate the Packers. They can't keep getting away with this, man.
Yeah.
They can't keep getting away with this, man.
Dynasty quarterbacks.
They can't, bro.
Yeah. I think some of these bigger teams like Philadelphia and San Francisco, I think they're mortgaging their future the next couple of years. I mean, it's Super Bowl or bust for them. And once the 49ers have to pay Purdy, you're not going to see those 7 guys, those 7 Pro Bowlers out there anymore. They're not going to be able to afford them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Love's only a year away from getting paid too.
And that's what brings me, and I'm glad you brought up the Packers because that's who I got going in the Super Bowl next year. But I do have them losing. I do have them losing to a team that has been forgot about this year due to quarterback injury. But I got Joe Burrow winning the Super Bowl next year, and I'm a big Joe Burrow guy, and I've been bragging all year.
Joe Burrow guy.
Yeah, like before he got hurt, he started to get it rolling. And I was like, dude, this guy. I know the talk is on Pat Mahomes all the time, but I believe Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the NFL, and him and Tom Brady are the only 2 guys to beat Pat Mahomes in the playoffs. And I think if there's anybody to compare to Brady based off mindset and who the guy is, I think it'd be Joe Burrow. And that's why I got him also winning MVP next year. If I were to put my money on somebody, it'd be him coming back next year, winning that MVP. And the last quarterback to win MVP and win the Super Bowl in the same season was all the way back in '99. Is a guy, Kurt Warner, who was stocking shelves a few months before the season started. I'm not sure. I have to look into that one. Played for the Rams. That's right. That's right, baby.
Guys. Oh, Rams. Yeah,
I just had to throw that one in there. But
yeah,
Joe Burrow, I think the guy's unbelievable. His pocket presence, he's not the fastest, but his awareness in the pocket, the way he moves around and can get out. I think he's the best in the league, and I think he's going to get his first Super Bowl next year, and he's going to prove that.
Well, if they could ever protect him, quit getting him killed in there. I mean, they traded for a bunch of really good linemen, but they haven't meshed for some reason or other. I mean, Brownling, what's his name? Browning.
Jake Browning.
He played pretty darn good when he came in for him. So that shows you they got a good team.
Very well coached as well.
Just got to stay healthy. The whole team.
Yeah, man. They gotta keep Joe Burrow upright. If they can, there's truly nothing stopping him. And shit, Joey B could win MVP, Super Bowl MVP, comeback player of the year.
Yeah.
He could do it.
All of it. Player of the year, everything.
He could.
Yeah. The guy is special, man. Big Joe Burrow guy.
He is. But he's got to stay healthy, and he's got to prove it now. He made it to the Super Bowl, but he's never won it.
Yeah,
he's got a good number. I think he'll get one.
I think he'll.
Only good ones were 9. You guys know.
We're number 9. Yeah, Tony Romo.
Yeah, 9 win.
Come on, dog.
Matthew Stafford.
Dog. Come on, dog.
9 will win you 2 or 3 anyway.
Jay Cutler, if you turn his number upside down.
Dude, give me Drew. Come on,
Drew
man.
Brees, baby.
Give me Drew.
Brees.
Come on, man.
Drew Brees. Put some respect on that man's name. You saw the difference in the Saints since he's left.
Brees.
He gave his right arm to our team, and we couldn't get him.
I know, and Peyton got all the credit.
Shout out, you guys.
And Peyton got all the credit for it. Sean Payton. Oh yeah, we find out he can't really. We find out he can't really coach without Drew. Kind of like
we'll find
somebody
out.
else I know, Belichick.
We'll find out actually, because I'd like to disagree with both those points. I think Belichick and Sean Payton are both phenomenal coaches, and I think they're going to prove it wherever they end up. Belichick, I think it'd be wise for him to take a year off. Obviously, he's not going to have a head coaching job this year, which was a little weird. Asking for too much power, obviously, with that GM role as well. But, I think Belichick, wherever he ends up, I think he's going to go to a team that's ready. Possibly McCarthy being gone next year. I could see him going to Dallas. and winning the Super Bowl or two there with that young core, Micah Parsons and all those guys. Can't imagine. But Sean Payton, I don't think he's out of it yet, man. You get him a quarterback there in Denver, I think he'll turn that franchise around. Give him some time.
Yeah, man, I love Sean Payton. I do always root for him on that. But if Belichick goes to the Cowboys, that'll be crazy. Jerry giving up some relinquish to the team, you know.
That'll be the day. Huh?
Nope, that ain't happening.
No, that ain't happening. Yeah. That's why he's not going. And he's going to be 73 next year. Come on, man. This guy's.
Dude, we have a guy.
Shula record. He wants that.
Our
president
he wants it, but he's got
our presidential candidates. Our presidential candidates are that old. I mean, if we can have a guy that old running our country, I think we can have a guy running an NFL team at that age. All right, that's a good point. But
no, I think it's time for him to retire and
I just hate to see him not
a Patriot, man.
Dude, he's got like 8
I'd
Super Bowls.
Hate to go to another team and not do well.
I just hate to see him get so
completely.
Yeah, I hate to see him get so disrespected.
He's not going to Cowboys
with Brady winning another one and people saying it was all Brady.
It wasn't all Brady at all.
I know, but I hate people saying that. I'd love to see him get one more without Brady and then right off into the sunset, and everyone can know, okay, they were both pretty damn good, you know, and both got one without each other.
But it's a quarterback-friendly league, man. So is the QB.
Oh, yeah. That quarterback is the head coach's best friend, man.
Maybe the Saints can get him, you know.
I wouldn't be opposed. Get D-A-I.
Oh, Dennis Allen's never been a good coach, man. I don't know why he keeps getting retreaded, man.
Yeah, I was so bamboozled when they made that hire. Yeah, hadn't improved really much elsewhere in the NFL.
There's guys that are just good at coordinators. He's an astonishingly great defensive coordinator. Like you would not expect it. Great. He gets to that head coaching job, and he forgets how to coach football, dude. He doesn't know what he's doing out there.
Well, yeah,
very much like Spagnuolo.
Offense, that's for sure. So
damn straight.
He's got to get him somebody that can.
And I'm a Derek Carr believer. Call me an optimist and whatnot, but that guy playing with all those injuries for the Saints, man, I love Derek Carr. When
he got hurt, messed up his shoulder, I thought he was done for the year. This guy comes back the next week. I mean,
dude,
good thing for some good injections, you know, and some pain meds. But this guy, he's a dog, man. I mean, he played so hurt this year. I'd like to see you get him an offensive line, give him a chance, and maybe get a top receiver in this draft. I know he's got a couple good ones, but get him one more.
I do hope that we got a Kubiak for our new OC. So hopefully they can tailor the offense more around Derek, because I feared the biggest thing with Pete is he was trying to make it that Saints offense. And Derek Carr ain't Drew Brees. You got to set up something that goes well with your players. So hopefully I'm proven wrong. I'd love to be wrong on this. I would. I really would.
And I mean, even Drew Brees came out and said that you know, the problem with the Saints is they got to get an offense coordinator who will fit Derek Carr. You know, you got to be able to run your quarterback and his strengths. And
still after retirement, bro, accurate as hell.
Yeah,
he's coming back. You know, Drew Brees.
He don't miss,
back, right?
He don't miss.
Yeah, if he can get a bionic shoulder, dude, that thing's just like a finely cooked rib, dude. Just slides right off the bone.
Just in slices already, man.
Yeah. Maybe if he's throwing with his left arm, because he definitely used the last of that right arm in his last year, playing hurt on that one.
Yeah, he was a gunslinger, man. That's back in the days when we had gunslingers, 5,000 yards every year, 3 or 4 guys. Now guys can't even get over 4,500, maybe 1 or 2. I think defense have just adjusted to everybody. And now
I think next year will go back
to readjust.
Yeah, offenses will readjust next year. I think you'll see a lot of these young studs getting healthy again, like Herbert, Burrow. You know, I think all those guys, Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes, I think are going to have big offensive years next year. I think we're going to see some 5,000-yard seasons again.
I think this year was a lot of these undervalued running backs coming back and showing everybody exactly what they're made of, you know, showing them that there is value in running backs. You know, you can't just have a quarterback. Got to have a running game.
And well, with that being said, boys, capping off the season, going into next year a little bit, but a very interesting game coming up.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be in store for a great one, and I just want to say thank you guys for coming on tonight. Appreciate you guys.